What is up, everybody? Dick and Scotty here with another episode of Maulcastrophe. This is episode 3, covering episodes 5 and 6. Yeah, 5 and 6.
5 and 6. 5 and 6.
Shit, we're just trucking along with this show, man.
That's right. We're really getting into it. And for anybody who listens to this or watches this later, you'll have to forgive me. I just told Dick I both look, sound, and feel like shit. And we're still here, still giving you guys content.
I,
So
I can confirm he looks. I don't know. You look still the same. I mean, at least with the camera, you look good.
it's compensating a lot. There's a filter over it where,
Yeah,
if
you got like an AI filter, just fucking yeah. And but you do sound
putting
like
in
shit.
work,
You do
I do
sound like
sound like
shit for
shit.
sure. Like I cannot, no escaping that.
None at all. None at all.
All right, so episode what was it, 5?
Episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5, Inquisition. Did you like it?
I thought it was good. We were just talking about this. Not a lot of meat in episode. I would say there's not a lot of meat, at least in episode 5. So, we talked last week about, we get to the end of episode 4, and, the last thing we see in episode 4 is Star Destroyer coming in over Janix, and we've got, this kind of looming presence of like the Empire has arrived. And so, the start of episode 5, the Empire has arrived, and we
Yeah.
we did get we got some neat treats, I think, with the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
episode.
What about episode 6? Did you like that one?
I loved episode 6.
All
Episode 6 was
right.
great.
Thank you, everybody. This has been a quick episode.
Fantastic. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much for joining.
watching, and we'll see you guys next week. And make every day a big dick day. Bye, guys.
Later, later.
All right, we're getting. Oh man, I totally made like a whole scene for that. Like I switched it to like a
That's so
thanks for
good.
watching thing.
Oh, that's so fucking
Yeah,
good.
no, you'll love it when you see it on the YouTubes. But
Hell yeah.
anyway, we're not gonna cut it out. Like I've been planning that all fucking day, knowing that like
That's
you
so
weren't gonna
fucking
want to do a
good.
long episode. So I'm like, let's make it as quick as possible.
No, I love
um,
that. The quick. What'd you think about episode 6? I thought it was great. Great. And roll credits.
we'll talk about it a little bit. Yeah, you're right. There's not a ton to talk about, especially in episode 5. Like episode 5 was very exposition heavy. It was like so
It
the
was.
Empire arrives. Okay, we knew that. However, we have an Inquisitor,
We
Marok.
do have an Inquisitor, Marok, and that dude looks cool as shit. We actually get to hear him talk a little
Yeah.
bit more. We get to see him move. We get to see him. I mean, we're jumping ahead
Do
slightly,
you
but we
think
get to
we
see him
hear
fight eventually.
do you think we hear him talk because he's actually alive?
I don't know.
Because he's a character in the Ahsoka series, and he when he dies in Ahsoka, spoilers, a bunch of fucking Night Sister green magic smoke pops out of him.
Yep, yep.
Which
So
begs the
I wonder.
question. Which begs the question, because okay, so him being able to talk might not necessarily mean anything because first brother, he can
Yeah,
talk in Tales of the Jedi when he dies. Spoilers. But he blows up in green smoke as well in that. So it's like, do both of them die in this Maul series?
I don't know. That's kind. I would have to think so. So I mean, we're we're jumping ahead a little bit, but it's the way that I don't know, he carries himself, the way he doesn't seem to get like winded as much as other people. I don't know. It There's a lot of telltale signs that he might be, I don't know what they call it in the Star Wars verse, but like reanimated,
Yeah.
where he's kind of running off a Night Sister magic. So I think it's a really neat little Easter egg. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, and his presence is, in episode 5 we get his presence where it's very subtle, right? The Empire gets there. We're talking about Easter eggs. I thought some really neat Easter eggs was, if we could talk about some of the fan service that they give us. So like we've got the lat gunships that
Yeah.
are now, so it's because we're only a year after the Clone Wars, so like
We haven't
they've
switched to
still got
tie yet.
remnants. We're not at tie, so we've got the lat gunship. We've got the same clone shuttle that was used during the Clone Wars that Palpatine was dropped off with.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought Anakin back from Vader back from Mustafar to Coruscant. Transported his limbless body. I thought it was really neat how we see the LAT gunships, how they're all painted white. They're all
Yeah.
completely white. And if you notice these LAT gunships, they're missing something. At least I didn't notice them on the LAT gunships. They don't have the pods on the
Yeah.
left and right side that have like the lasers on them. Those
Those
are
were so
completely
fuck.
gone.
Those lasers are the coolest fucking things ever.
Those lasers are the coolest part, and we only really ever see them for like episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Like,
So hold up, because there's a game. There's a game for Attack of the Clones that was for the original
there is,
Xbox.
and it was so good. I
It's
played
it's
the shit
it's
out of that
almost
game.
100% vehicle or vehicular
Mm-hmm.
gameplay, with a couple like on foot missions, but they suck. Um, Although you do play as Mace Windu for a
You
little
do play
bit,
as
that was
Mace
pretty
Windu.
cool.
Yep.
But no, yeah, and so you get to fly that thing around and fucking take shit out with those lasers. That was like my favorite thing. I turned on like the like unlimited ammo cheat and would just like infinite laser everything. It was
Oh yeah,
amazing.
dude. That whole
Um,
game was so good.
yeah, yeah. It's too bad it's not canon.
So it's right, no kidding.
Yeah,
So we
it
get some of
mentioned
these
Ulick
lat gunships.
Keldroma. Yeah. Anyway, back to the show.
It mentions a lot. There was an arena mode I used to play on
Yeah,
that.
same.
Oh, dude, it was so good. But back to episode 5 here. So we get the lat gunships, which I thought was cool. Um, Something I thought was really neat. If you notice the stormtrooper helmets, it's kind of the same helmet that we see in Rebels with the training helmet that Ezra has from his training days at the academy. And so it's one of those like I think that's old artwork, and I could be wrong here, but who's the guy who did Ralph McQuarrie, who did all of the Star Wars concept art for the original episodes for George Lucas? This is way back in like
Hmm.
the 70s. And so it's either Ralph McQuarrie or Ralph McQuaid, but we've got all of this artwork that's shown like they showed in earlier episodes, but the way the lightsabers are ignited, right? And the way they've got like the very pointed tip and they're a
Yeah.
lot thinner.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of Rebels. The helmets very reminiscent of kind of the Rebels helmets, where we're in what they would call like phase 1 of the Stormtrooper set, where
Yeah.
it's not we're still using some of the clone battle gear, but we've phased over to like now we're starting to get the Stormtrooper variants,
Yeah.
which I thought was
Which
pretty neat.
I mean, we've seen it. We have seen it because Bad Batch. We've already
Yes.
been in this era with Bad Batch. Um, yeah, like oh man, like yeah. So you got the Empire coming in. You got your dickhead, Lieutenant Blake or whatever.
Oh yeah, that guy
What
fucking sucks.
what a snobby cunt. Which is the
What a
Empire. That's the Empire in a
It's the
nutshell.
Empire, the epitome of the Empire. It's like the Empire, everything they stand for is just being a royal fuckwit. And that's this guy. That's this lieutenant who comes in and is basically like, and we said this was going to happen, right? Like, you guys can't do it. So since you couldn't handle it, we're going to handle it. And immediately, right? So we see the consequences in episode 5 of Two Boots, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, all of a sudden, Detective Lawson, he's being inquisitioned, right? And this is where we get introduced to Merrick. Is he's been inquisitioned, and his captain has been inquisitioned. And when he asks, he's like, "Where's my captain at?" He's simply told, "She's gone, forever. You will never see her again. Like she is just gone, gone." Um, we see the Empire really come in and take over. The way they march into the streets, and something I thought was really interesting from episode 5. We get it a lot in episode 6 too. Did you notice anything in the skies when the Empire got there?
Hmm. Not really. No.
So it's not just the LAT gunships that are now in the skies patrolling. Did you notice the amount? There's like a seemingly endless amount of
Oh.
fucking LAT
Yeah.
gunships in the skies. Like I don't know where they carry this fleet of lat gunships, but they've got like 10,000 lat gunships in the sky, and it's so funny because if you're really paying attention to the episodes, constantly in the background, which one, I love the sound of the lat gunship. That whatever those like ion engines are that it uses, it's so fucking neat.
I need
Like
to
kind of
look
precursor.
because that was I need to look at like when the Empire introduced the Star Destroyer to replace the Venator because I
It
don't think.
wasn't long after,
Okay, I mean this is a whole year after Order 66, so
and you can tell that this Star Destroyer is kind of close, but it's still like a little early in the design. Like it's still not the perfectly pointed. Like we still have the kind of in corners for the hangar bay doors instead of the
yeah.
straight perfect triangle for the Star Destroyer we all know and love. So like there's still the transition. I do know, and this is going a little deep into lore here, but the reason that they made the Star Destroyer the way they did, and the reason they got rid of the Venator is one, the Venator was too exposed. It carried mostly fighters,
Yeah.
and it had the giant hangar bay doors in the middle, and so it also didn't have a ton of firepower. So they got rid of the hangar bay doors in the middle. They put two hangars, and I say two hangars. It's one hangar all the way through, but two hangar bay doors on the side, and then vastly increase the amount of firepower with turbo lasers and heavy turbo lasers that are on that top row there for the triangle. So you can see where we're getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made the bridge a lot more well defended on the Star Destroyer versus the Venator, where the Venator Star Destroyer or the Venator's bridge effectively like not undefended, but like it very easy to take out, right? Not a lot of turbo laser fire there.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, and one thing I thought was really cool too. I will forever love this sound. It's the sound of the alarm that the Empire has.
Yeah.
That ooh, like I love when the Star Destroyer comes
I
over
love your
the
shitty
fucking
voice
city.
doing it.
It's dude, I know, dude, I know it's so good. I can't do it real well. But we get that, you know, that alarm where it's basically like, and I don't know what that alarm, if it's like, you know, because you get the same thing. Obviously, the Star Destroyers are very reminiscent of like actual naval ships. And so I know that that's a thing on like naval vessels is you'll have alarms for basically like, hey, you know, crew needs to be aware like this is either main battle stations or be at the ready or you know, whatever
Mm-hmm.
state of readiness you're supposed to be at. So the Empire has obviously the same thing for their Imperial Navy. But you hear that as they're kind of coming in, and then we get, you know, the all of the lats that come out and everything like that. Something I thought was really interesting because you had already mentioned it. We don't see a single TIE fighter. There's not a single TIE fighter yet. They're all lat gunships. It's almost like their entire navy is still just lat gunships,
Which would make
which
sense.
obviously, yeah,
I
we're
mean,
only a year
there's
past.
probably still clones within the ranks as well.
There are because it wasn't until a little later. I want to say it was 3 to 5 years after the fact that Palpatine was like, okay, clones are now
Yeah.
illegal. We're getting them out completely because of how, you know, Order 66 basically pushed them out. So he's like, at this point, I don't want any more clones. If
Yeah.
you listen to the voices, which obviously the voices are all supposed to sound the same for stormtroopers because of the voice modulation, they do still sound like clones a little bit, but the way that they act leads me to believe that they might actually be like a hired Imperial
Yeah.
infantry because they don't the way that they fight is not they're not as combat ready as, you know, typical like I would imagine even like a day one fresh clone just out of training to be. And at this point, I don't know how many batches of clones were still released after Order 66, if any, if they had them all like decommissioned or killed or stopped ordering them.
I think they were decommissioned. Like they just like we're done.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, they were also super expensive, which is part of why
yeah,
Palpatine was like,
it
it's not
was it
feasible.
was kind of a hybrid army at this point in time. I know
Yeah.
within a few years they were still using the clone commandos at like Mount Tantus.
Yes.
Um,
So there's still bits and pieces of them there, but from what we've seen, there's none
yeah.
on Janix. The only pre-Imperial era stuff we see so far is vehicles, right? I did think the ATST walkers, we get a version of those where
Hmm.
it's kind of a mix. You know, they're
Yeah.
not as, it's like they landed on a half clone, half Imperial design for both like the infantry gear and the ATST at this point. Like they hadn't fully made the jump over to um, actual Imperial walkers. So, it's interesting to see. I will say, aside from like the little tidbits of fun that we get, like the little Easter eggs for basically cosmetics and old Clone Wars callbacks. There's not a lot that really happens in five. I
No,
mean,
which
we
is
get,
fine.
Two Boots does get his comeuppance, right? Where it's like, he's like, this is Imperial protocol. Everything's going to be better. You're going to see. And he basically, sees Detective Lawson get branded a traitor, right? So his son comes into the police station at this point, and his son's like, where's my dad? And he's like, your dad's in interrogation, but it's just protocol. Your dad's fine. It's just protocol. He's gonna be out before you know it. Everything's gonna go back to normal. Like, still very naive to the fact, like, and
Yeah.
Lawson says this as well, like, you can't get past your programming to see what's coming. You have no idea what you've done.
Hmm.
And
And
it's
then
and
and
it's kind
then
of sad.
and then Lieutenant Blake points out his two boots.
His two boots and is like, that's not regulation. Take those off.
And it's like, oh, I and you like you start seeing it's like the robot, the droid who's like
Yes.
devoid of like of any humanity. He starts like realizing, oh fuck, I see your point. I see
Yeah.
Lawson's point now. But moving on to
And it's
episode.
that's kind of a sad moment, honestly,
Yeah,
where
it
like
is. It
you
is.
want two boots to get his just desserts, but you're like, man,
So
that
there's
also is like kind of
so
heartbreaking.
there's two main droids in this show. There's two boots and then there's Maul's droid. And
Which,
I love Maul's droid.
for anybody who doesn't know, Maul's droid is voiced by the same guy who voiced Proxy in The Force Unleashed 1 and 2.
No
So this is
shit.
literally, yes, this is literally an instance of Sam Witwer and that voice actor getting to work together again after all of these years
Dude, that's awesome.
because
That's
he was
sick.
Proxy. So yeah, it's really neat. Sam Witwer had actually spoken a little bit about it, where he was like, it's been something like 20 years since they had gotten to work together on a project, let alone a Star Wars project. And he was like, the first thing that brought us together is kind of one of those things all these years later where I guess they were gonna, they needed like a voice for a droid or something like that. And Sam Witwer was like, I've got just the guy if you guys will let me bring him on, and literally brought on the voice actor for Proxy and was like,
Hell yeah.
this is it, man. Like we're gonna do this again where like this time I'm Maul, but you're just another droid for me. And the guy I guess was like, I love that. That's great. Let's do it. So
That's
he's
fucking
he's
sick.
back. Yeah, I thought that was super fucking neat. And so, yeah, not there's really just not a lot to talk about in five. The Empire gets there, they take over the police station. Detective Lawson's basically trying to hide the fact from the Inquisitor that he knows that there were Jedi here, that he's housed Jedi. He knows who, maybe not to what extent Maul is, but he knows who Maul is. He understands like the depravity of the situation and that he broke Imperial code by not reporting it the moment that he saw
Mm-hmm.
Maul. And then we get into episode 6, where, if I'm not mistaken, kind of towards the end of episode 5, maybe it was, or this might even be in episode 6, Lawson is branded a traitor. He's branded a traitor to the Empire. Um, that's because he gets put up on the wanted board and he's labeled a traitor. The detective is literally like, he's now a traitor to
That's
the
in episode
Empire
six.
because that is in episode 6. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and the reason for this, because, Lawson, He's trying everything he can to be the good dad, the good cop. He's losing grip on his police station, on his force. He's got a droid that's gone, in the eyes of the humans, he's gone completely fucking AWOL. Maul's running around and can't be tethered. You've now got an Imperial Inquisitor here who's really putting his thumb on the pulse of Lawson. And this kind of leads us up to the point of Lawson gets to his house, and what does he find? Two
Yeah,
fucking
well,
Jedi.
yeah, I was gonna say there's literally like foreshadowing. It's like, hey, at least you weren't harboring Jedi. And then
Yeah, at least you weren't harboring Jedi.
literally the next episode, they're in his apartment. It's like, oh my god, I'd be so pissed off.
And I
I'd be
love the
like,
face that he makes.
what the fuck?
Yeah, when he walks in and he's looking at his son and he's just like, oh, he's like, I really fucking did it now.
Disappointed!
Yeah, it's just so disappointed. He's like, you have any idea what you've done? And it's not his son's
Yeah,
fault, right? His son
yeah.
doesn't know that they're Jedi, but he's just like, and he's talking to these two Jedi now, and he's like, you've got to fucking go. And the Master Jedi at this point's like, yeah, I can't do that, man. Like, if I'm implicated, you're implicated. Like, we're all in this shit fest together.
And he rules, dude. I love him. He's great.
Oh,
He fucking
he's
as so they escape onto the roof after Marok breaks into the apartment, like busts into the apartment with his lightsaber. There's a battle ensues within the apartment between
Yes.
between Devin and her master, and it's like Eco Dio or something like that.
Eco Dio, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Eco Debo.
Dio.
Dio.
Yeah, and then there's like a name. I think that's his first name, and then there's a name after. It's like Obi-Wan.
There's a name after that. Yeah.
But yeah, so they get onto the roof. They're looking for a way out, and then that's when the lat ships come, LAT ships, and like it's so fucking Master Icodio fucking tanks the fucking blasters, the gunfire from the ship with his lightsaber,
Yes.
which is like, whoa! But it like,
Insane.
but
I
like
didn't know that you could do that.
well, it's because you really can't in most games, most settings where like you're in control of a Jedi and you can deflect blaster bolts. You can't. But that's for gameplay purposes. However, it's pretty logical that would be way too much kinetic energy and force for
Yeah.
a lightsaber being held by your hands. As you can tell by him, like really
No,
taking
yeah, he's
it.
really like
Like,
he's taking hits, right? His back is up against the wall, like
yeah.
he's literally in one of the scenes, like he's up against an air vent and he's just fucking
Mm-hmm.
trying everything he can to keep this lat ship from getting
At
him.
which point, Devin takes it over and hijacks it so that they can escape. And then after that, we have a air chase.
I thought this air chase was so good too,
Yeah, yeah.
just because of the fact that like we've got other lats that are coming in, and they say a line that's such a simple line, but I think it really adds to the current situation where it's they're in the ship and they don't just get away, right? They're in the ship, and Detective Lawson is like, that they can track these things, right? Where it's like, finally, somebody says an in-universe explanation for why people are always getting fucking caught, or why the Empire doesn't just do something so simple as like, why don't you just home in on it's like stealing a police car.
Yeah.
You're like, that they can track these things with GPS, right? Like, it's literally down to like a foot within the radius of where it's at. Like, why are you guys in this thing? And so we see, because it's not like they fly off and nobody's around to see them. And then out of nowhere, we get like 2 or 3 more lat gunships that join the chase, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just love the attention to detail where they're like, someone can track this, and then 2 seconds later, you've got all these lat gunships on you, and it's one of those like, I fucking told you they could track
Yeah.
it. Like, what are we doing? We've got to get out of this thing, right? And I like too that we've got competency in this show. There's so many shows, and largely in Star Wars, but like other shows too, where you're just like, why is there not like a common sense thing going on here? Where it's like, yeah, you guys are being shot at, but the door's open. Why don't you fucking shoot back? And Detective Lawson, kind of he's holding on. We see him holding on. He's not just standing. He's holding on to the actual like, the hanger right there, whatever you want to call it, the grip. And he leans out and he shoots a couple shots and he misses a few, but he hits one of the pilots and the
Yeah.
ship goes down. And it's like, you're not going to blow up a ship with that puny ass little blaster, but it's just glass you're shooting through, and these are plasma bolts. If
Yeah.
you shoot the fucking pilot, the ship goes down with it, and they
Mm-hmm.
show that exactly. Like it's a level of like common sense and competency that I think is missed in a lot of shows, and it's a tick for tack, right? And during this chase scene, it's not like he suddenly becomes like a gunslinger and he just shoots them all
Right.
down. He shoots one down, and then another lat comes in. They're shooting at this lat gunship, and it's like we don't have plot armor here. The lat gunship gets shot and the fucking engine explodes, and they're like, "Hey guys, we are going down." It's like, for me, I was kind of excited about that because if there's some things I can't stand, it's plot armor and
Yeah.
inconsistency. Where it's like, if this works one way in the universe, then it should work the other way. And I think this was a beautiful example of them showing like, yeah, you know what? In the universe and the way that Star Wars physics are shown to work, this is 100% plausible. You could do this. It's not some crazy, like, a Jedi leapt out and jumped between the roofs of all three lats and cut them down and jumped
Right.
back. Like,
They
just a
didn't
dude in
pull.
his blaster.
They didn't pull an Ahsoka,
Yeah.
like
In the Clone
in
Wars, or
the
season
wreckage.
7.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
falling Venator.
Yeah, which
Right.
is just fucking nuts, right? Like, oh my God. So it's, yeah, her jumping and trying to, like, get to the fucking. That's insane. Could a Jedi do it? Sure, but it's still insane. And so that was something that I thought was really neat to see. It's these small details that bring consistency that still drive the plot forward,
Mm-hmm.
and it's believable enough without like what they call jumping the shark, where it's
Yeah.
not so out of bounds that you're like this is an insane feat that like there's no way that this could happen. It's in the realm of believability. And I like that they kind of stick with it. We see that consistency still going forward, right? So they crash land, they get down, and at this point they're really trying to get out of the city. And at this point I think it leads them to what we get led to. We find out, and I love that they offered a little bit of backstory here. So they crash land, nobody's, they're able to get away, and they're running. And as they're running, it leads them to kind of that Nar Shaddaa looking like casino,
Yeah.
right? Brings them back to this spot, um, where Detective Lawson has to kind of we get a little bit more exposition on whoever this woman is,
Yeah.
um, and we find out that I can't remember if he said this wasn't during the Clone Wars, but we get the idea that it was maybe like years before it, based on their ages, where she was a bounty hunter, which is why she has all of these underworld connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's how she knows who all of these big players are. And he wasn't yet a cop. He was just kind of he was a mercenary, right?
Yeah.
Um, and, goes to her for help, essentially. And I love how because there's a scene in that moment where you can see them kind of talking to each other and her trying to help, where his son kind of puts two and two together, where it's like, oh, that you're going to this is why you and mom aren't working out or whatever, is like that you've been going to this woman for more than just informants,
I don't know.
shit, right?
I don't know. I think it's
He's
more. I don't think it has to do with. I think it's definitely like probably their opposing views of the Empire.
it's
I think,
definitely their opposing views of the Empire, but
especially since like for his past and her past, like yeah, that's what I'm
but
seeing.
there's
I'm not
but
seeing.
like he says, I mean, there is a little bit of, I think, romanticism involved, but he also says, right, like she saved my life at a time where like only she could have saved my life, or in a situation where like she had to save my life and I had to save her life. Like
Yeah.
we needed each other to survive. So there is kind of this like, because they're like, can we trust her? And he's like, about as much as I would stake my life on her, but like she saved my life, so I would stake my life on her. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can trust her. And then she does one of the best things I've seen in a very quick like and a very quick cut to, there's no dragging this situation out. She's like, I'll see what I can do. And she's like, here's a lift. If shit goes sideways, use the lift and get out of here. And then she goes downstairs, right? And
Yeah.
the next thing we see is the Imperials walking in on the camera, her confronting them, and then her beating the shit out of one of the stormtroopers. And then there are shots being fired. And then we just see this on the camera where she's kicking the shit out of one of the stormtroopers. And Detective Lawson's just like, ah, oh, geez.
Well,
Where, yeah, he's
guess we're
like,
guess we're using that lift.
right. He's like, this isn't gonna happen, right? And so he very quickly, pushes Devin and I forget his son's name, but Devin and
Riley.
Lawson's Riley into the lift and is like, we'll stay here, we'll cover your guys' retreat, we'll meet up with you later. Run. Riley and Devin go down into the garage. We find out it's a garage. Now, this is, it's still in the realm of plausible, belief, but it teeters on that edge of like, there's no fucking way, right? Where they're in there, they're not making noise, and they get to the corner and they stop right at the edge of the corner. And literally, like, if they were to peek around the corner, I was waiting for them to peek around the corner and see all of the stormtroopers and Marok and everybody else staying there. Cause I'm like, there's no way you do that. No one sees you peek your fucking head around the corner
Yeah.
when they're less than 2 feet away from you. But they don't do that. They sit there and they listen. She stops him and they just listen. And as the stormtroopers are like, move out, she kind of shoos him away and is like, we need to go hide. Again, little details that I love that they included. It's still in the realm of
But
belief.
Marok senses her.
But Marok senses her. But I actually thought that was cool because it's one of those. So they talk about it here and there throughout Star Wars, and you have to look up a little bit of like exposition and detail on this to understand. So every force sensitive user that's aware of them being force sensitive, I would say Jedi, but we have Jedi Sith. So every force entity
Yeah.
that has control of the force has this sort of cloak around them. And this cloak does one of two things. One, this cloak, it kind of acts as like if you put two batteries together where it's like a positive and a positive, where you put that charge together and they repel each other's force. It's just a natural like field that repels each other. So for two force users, they have this field, right, of the force, this force field, if you will, that just naturally, thank you, that naturally protects and repels another force user's attempt to use the force to influence their sphere, right? So that's why usually in force combat you don't see like a Jedi and a Sith trying to force push, force pull, like force anything, because the moment they try, this is a field that a Jedi or a Sith doesn't have to keep up. Like they don't have to think about it. It just kind of naturally acts as that barrier.
Yeah.
Another thing that a force barrier does is it cloaks the user if they so choose. They could basically mask their presence through the influence of the force so that they're harder to detect. Not impossible to detect, but harder to detect, right? And so we've seen it done where like other Jedi and stuff, or Jedi running from Sith, they'll kind of mask their presence so that they
Hmm.
can't be seen. And in this case, you have a Padawan learner versus an Inquisitor, which it's to be believed that most Inquisitors are knight rank or higher in terms of their ability with the Force. Not to say that they were recruited as knights. A lot of them were actually recruited as Padawans in the Purge and then trained to the level of what a knight would be. None of them are masters, but trained to the level of what a knight would be. So Marok's obviously got more training, is better tuned into his abilities with the Force. So I love the subtlety of they go to run and Marok doesn't say anything. They don't make any noise. This is what I was waiting for: a noise, a sound, bump into the
Yeah.
car, an alarm, anything.
But no, he's a hunter.
He's a hunter. And so we just see him kind of look over and he
He's a tracker.
senses that presence. He's a hound.
Yes.
Dude's a bloodhound, and so he senses that presence. And so again, there's little details in these two episodes that I'm really gonna pick out. Um, love to see it, right? So he senses them and he goes after them. And while we're talking about force sensitivity and auras and this and that, I want to go back just a little bit to where there was a really cool instance earlier in the episode before the Jedi are on the run, before they have to start running from the Empire, where the Master gets stopped by a stormtrooper and he's like, it's the
Yeah.
classic, I need to see your identification. And he goes, you don't need to see my identification. And it works. And it works. However, there's a stormtrooper 2 feet away that looks at him and sees this whole interaction happen and walks over and is like, why didn't you check their identification? And the stormtrooper's like, well, I didn't need to. Holy shit, stop those two. Like, I love how it breaks that illusion, because we've never
Right.
seen that happen before, where it's like, oh, somebody's there to call the bluff. I'm like, no, because you're just doing it to the one person. You're not influencing everybody around you. So some stormtrooper sees this and he's like, what in the backwoods space wizardry? He's like, absolutely not. Why didn't you check their ID? So I love that they included that as like a failsafe on, yeah, it works. It works if no one fucking sees you do it, because in episode 4, Obi-Wan does the same thing. The first time we ever see the Jedi mind trick,
Mm-hmm.
where they're in the speeder and he goes, you don't need to see our identification. And he's like, the stormtrooper goes, we don't need to see our identification. There's 4 other stormtroopers standing right next to the guy, and no one thinks to go, we do. No, hold on. Whatever that bullshit is, we do need to see your identification. Stop. Now, we don't know if Obi-Wan
Maybe.
does it to all of them,
Maybe. I
right?
mean, could it be that at that point in the Empire that they're just hiring anybody? They're
They
recruiting
could.
anybody in the galaxy, and it's just
Yes, absolutely, Lucas. Sorry, I heard a knocking, and I think it was Han's tail. And I'm like, who the fuck is knocking on my stuff?
he's been very active this episode.
He's been very active. I told you, he's a pacing bull. He's back and
Mm.
forth. So, it was just interesting to see that they included this, this kind of, I'm going to call you on your bullshit. Like, no, you didn't check their ID. And then it leads us into this whole chase. So, jumping back
Yeah,
forward,
it was a persuasion check, and they failed. I mean,
and
technically they
well,
passed,
so
but if it
they
wasn't for
succeeded. And then, right, like another guard is basically like, well, now hold on. Your
yeah,
persuasion worked on him. It didn't work on me. Well, what the fuck is that? So I thought that was, again, another really neat small detail. Um, and so, fast forward back to Marok senses them, and so they start to run. They're trying desperately to get away, and at this point, we kind of get a showdown between Devin and Marok. And at this point, so really between these two episodes, Maul is very sparse
yes,
in these two episodes. He's not been shown a lot. We don't see Maul do much. The only two bits that I think are really memorable from Maul in this is one, when Vario is like, hey, so I kept up my end of the deal, and Maul's just kind of over Vario at this point. He's like, dude, if you want to go, fucking go. Like, the
yeah,
Empire's here. Have fun working with them.
yeah,
Like, I've gotten what I need out of you. And Vario's like, well, you got everything you want. What the hell do I get? And Maul's like, well, you're fucking alive, aren't you? So take your life and get the
yeah.
fuck out of
There's
here.
that, and then the very start of episode 6 is we get the mall like training sequence,
Yes,
which was really
where
fucking
he's,
cool.
which is really neat to see, right? And so, yeah, I loved the little Vario, because we talk about Vario being a little shit. And he's just like, what do I get? And Maul's like, what do you mean? He's like, I haven't killed you, so either shut up or get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as Maul walks away, Vario does his little snake shit where he's like, yeah, actually, you know what? I am alive. And he's like, I could get used to living off scraps and living in the gutter. He's like, it's not too bad. He's like, sure as hell beats the Empire. And it's like, God, Vario, you fucking suck. He's kind of growing on me a little bit just for his shitty antics, but it's like all this dude does is complain and complain and
Yeah,
complain. And Maul makes a really good point where he's like, I didn't kill you, man.
bro, you're
He's like, I
alive.
could have killed you. Yeah. He's like, you're alive. So do with that what you will. And I love how this shows again a changed Maul. This is a different Maul where he doesn't kill just out of spite. He's like, I should kill you. I'm not going to. you served a usefulness to me. There's no harm you could do at this point. The Empire's already here. So get the fuck out of here. You're going to live.
Yeah.
I think that's really neat. And the other point where we see Maul is where Maul is talking about Devin, where he's like, because his Lieutenant Rook is like, what about the girl? What do we do about the girl if she gets, comes face to face with an Inquisitor? And Maul's like, I just need her to pass the test. He's like, I don't care what allegiances she has, if she's going to be difficult, if she still wants to kill me. What allegiances does she have? Or basically, can she pass this test?
Yeah.
Can she do what I need her to do? Can she hold out?
He's like, I don't need her to win. I just need her to survive. Show me that she's willing to survive.
Can she make it? Is she cut from that cloth? And so we get to really, this is kind of the lead up of these last two episodes. The only thing with any real substance in these last two episodes is we get the showdown between Merrick and Devin, where they're fighting each other, and Merrick's really seeming like he can hold his own, right? We get the little cargo hover train that comes in, and it kind of feels like a video game fight sequence because they always seem to happen, especially in the Star Wars universe, on these goddamn hover trains.
Yeah.
Where, it's tells Riley, get on the fucking train, Riley. Riley jumps on the train, and then she leaps after as the train's leaving while she's holding Merrick off. They're in this tunnel, and Riley's like, hey, did we lose him? And Devin's like, turns around and is like, oh, I think we lost him. And I love this, by the way. Again, little detail. We're all about the little details in this Maulcastrophe of ours. Little details where Merrick shows up. He's made it on the train. They're on the train. They're going high speed. He's made it on the train. Riley doesn't say like, oh my God, look out behind you, or oh no, there he is. Doesn't do some long. He just he points and goes, Devin. Which, God damn it, if you were going to get someone's attention and tell them to look behind them, that is the quickest way to do it while still being believable.
Yeah.
There's no sixth sense. There's no Force aura. There's no, like, she just gets saved by plot where, like, suddenly she saves herself with her lightsaber. Riley, my boys, Devin. And Devin turns around just in time to see Merrick jumping over with his fucking lightsaber. And you're like, that's a good save. That's believable.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like, they don't speak fast enough, or they just, when you literally, in the real world, if someone's behind you, you could just be like, point, and somebody with any sense would turn around and be like, oh shit, there's someone behind me, right? Riley does exactly that. So now ensues the lightsaber battle between Merrick and Devin. What did you think of this lightsaber battle?
So, we do need to be wrapping up really soon.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the lightsaber combat in this episode because the animation's different,
It's different.
You're getting Clone Wars animation mixed with a little bit of Rebels.
It's succinct.
Yeah, and then it also reminds me a lot of the animation in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially with the combat, like the way the frame rate is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's very good. I'm curious if they used any of that or if they took some tidbits from the Spider-Verse
it's very possible. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the lighting in that in that fucking corridor or whatever. Maybe
which I think they did very well.
Yeah.
Right. The choreography was fantastic. I think the sequence was really good. There's no moves that are unbelievable. She uses her environment to her advantage, right? She throws things at Merrick. She knocks Merrick over. She dodges things. She uses, crates to her advantage, right? There's height advantages or like getting distance between her and Merrick to where his lightsaber can't come down. It's a very practical fight with practical effects. Nothing's over the top and unbelievable. You don't get some crazy, like, outlandish fight. And probably my favorite part of both of these episodes here is where, Merrick, because Merrick could really give two shits less about Devin. He could have killed her already. This is very much like a cat and mouse game for him. What he's there for, who he's there for, is Maul.
Yeah.
And he goes, where's Maul? And we get this awesome, like, no like extravagant entrance or nothing like crazy. Maul just standing on top of some crates and he's like, I'm right here. Lights his lightsaber and jumps right in, right?
I'm here and I
There's
am
no
him.
like, and I am him. Jumps right in. And so, we see a little bit of tension between Devin and between Maul because 2 episodes before they were literally like, at least for Devin's part, was out to take Maul's life, right? And that's still her modus operandi right now. Is like, I'm a Jedi, you're a bad guy, it's my job to take you out. But the enemy of my enemy, yada yada,
Hmm.
Marok's here, so it's like we got to take down Marok. And I love because they showed this in Ahsoka as well. When Ahsoka fights the Inquisitors, is there's a huge gap between Devin and her master fighting the Inquisitor, which her master I think still holds his own pretty well,
Yeah, they both
although he's
do.
injured, right? They both
Yeah.
do, but like Marok fighting the master, not as hard. Marok fighting Devin, it's a fucking walk in the park. Maul steps in, and Devin almost immediately removes herself from this fight. She stays back kind of towards Riley, and Maul kind of takes the helm. And Marok is literally on the defensive, where he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, this is Maul."
Deploy the second lightsaber.
Yeah, right. No, I also love that. I love that you brought that up. He pulls out his second lightsaber and starts turning it,
It's like,
and you would expect
deploy the
anybody else to
helicopter
freak out.
blade. I
And
hate
Maul's
that. I
literally
hate
just
those so
like,
much. Why did they
they're
ever
so
fucking do
stupid.
it? Dumbest
I
thing
do
that
think it's so
Rebels ever
funny though.
introduced.
Oh, it's the dumbest thing with lightsabers I've ever seen. But it brings up a funny point where like Marok does this and he lights his lightsaber and he's like, "Oh, so what are you gonna do now?" And Maul's just like, "I invented dual blades. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Well,
Like
like
it
it's
premiered
the
with
two
me."
different it's like the two different like versions of it. Like you got the
Yes.
Inquisitor version, which is the fucking spinny helicopter, and he's just like,
So stupid.
I don't need these fancy tricks. I can just do that with my hands. Fuck you.
Well, and you see him do it, right? So Maul ignites his second saber, and then he does the slow, like he's kind
Mm-hmm.
of getting the timing down and feeling it, and then he jumps in. And Merrick at this point is completely lost. And I can't remember. I don't think it's Maul who does it. I think it's Devin who slices the coupling for the train, and Merrick's left on his platform, and Maul, Devin, and Riley keep going, right? And at this point, Marok's just kind of like, he doesn't say anything. There's no like monologue or anything. Like this whole sequence in this tunnel was just pure action, straight to the point.
Yeah.
And I love immediately after this fight, Devin's kind of holding her lightsaber up to Maul, where she's like, "All right, you fucking round two, like you want to get it," and Maul's just like, "Have you not figured it out by now? Like I'm not, you've seen the true face of your enemy, which is not me. Keep trying to tell you that
Yeah.
it's not me." Deignites his saber, Devin deignites hers, and then they kind of go off. So now we've got Lawson and the Master separated from Padawan and Son, who are on a train with Maul going God knows where, and we've got Marok seemingly hot in pursuit.
Yeah.
And this leads to, and we can kind of end on this, this leads to my all time favorite part of both of these episodes because we've been talking about this, and motherfucker, I want to know who it is. Marok goes and he reports back and he says two things that are really important. He kneels down and we don't even see enough to let us clue in on who it is, but we see two things here. One, or we hear two things. The first thing we hear is Maul was a lot more dangerous than we realized. Like basically saying, I don't know if I'm enough to do this by myself. So kind of foreshadowing on like, are we going to get more Inquisition forces? Probably. Or are we going to get, because he says, Marok says, master, or he says, my
Says Lord,
lord.
my lord.
He says,
That
my
only means
lord.
one thing. I'm sorry, it only
Could
means one
it has
fucking
to
thing.
be Lord Vader.
He's not
It
talking.
has to be Lord Vader. He's
Sidious
not
didn't
talking to
talk to
Sidious.
them. He didn't have anything to do with him.
Not a single thing.
The
And the only person to
maybe the
train
Grand
them,
Inquisitor,
Lord
but
Vader.
it's Lord Vader. It's Darth Vader.
It has to, because they don't even call the Grand Inquisitor my lord. It's literally Lord Vader. And he's always called Lord Vader. Never Darth
Yep.
Vader. Never, even Palpatine calls him Lord Vader.
Yep.
He is a Lord. This is one of the Lords of the Sith, Lord Vader himself. And I was waiting to hear like some breathing, to see like a gauntlet, to see the foot, to see anything that would give it away, and they kept it so masterfully under. All you see is kind of the side front, what I imagine like the front leg or the
Yeah.
front drape
Yeah.
of whomever's standing there. It has to be
It
Vader.
has to be.
And so we get two things. One, we get Marok saying like I'm not enough, so it foreshadows as there's going to be somebody either stronger or there are going to be reinforcement. There's unquestionably
Which
going to be
I was gonna say, we
reinforcements.
know that from the trailer. We know that from the
Right.
trailer.
Does it allude to the reinforcements eventually are going to be Lord Vader himself? Are we actually going to get a meeting with Vader and Maul like everybody's been wanting for some 20 years,
It's
20 plus
very,
years?
very fucking possible because in Rebels, he kind of alludes to the fact that he's fought Vader. He says,
Well, and he's
I'm not
like,
enough. I cannot take him by myself. Maul
well, and he
says that.
also like when Maul senses Vader's presence, he's like, "Oh shit, he's here.
Yeah.
It's him." Like he's felt this presence before. He knows who it is. He knows that it's a bad presence to feel. Like there's only one way you know that because we talked about this in an earlier episode, right? Where I think the last Maulcastrophe we did, the Force is like a signature. It's like a thumbprint. Everybody's Force signature throughout the Force is unique,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's you know that's kind of why like when Obi-Wan says he reaches out through the Force and he's like Anakin was dead because Anakin was dead because it wasn't Anakin's Force signature anymore, it was Vader's Force signature. Two completely different signatures. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like I reached out through the Force and Anakin wasn't there. I thought he was dead. So is it the same? I have to believe it's the same thing with Maul.
Yeah.
I hope that we get a meeting between these two. Not a lot of meat on here, but I think they're setting it. We've got 4 more episodes left. We've got 2 more weeks worth of episodes. I really hope that we're getting, at least even by the end of the season, a big meeting between Maul and Vader. I think it would just be the meeting of all of Star Wars. Everybody's wanted this to
Yeah.
happen.
Not to drag this out further, but I think if anything, it might be kind of like in Fallen Jedi or Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, where Vader isn't in the game at all until just out of the blue at the very end, and it's just like
Spoilers.
this. Yeah, yeah. And he gets mentioned here and there as like the Shadow or something like that. But it's like he just kind of appears and then he's just overpowering everything you do. So there's just no fighting
Yes.
him. There's just run. So I think that's what's basically going to happen is like the very last second, kind of like Rogue One. Just at the very last second, they're all jump into hyperspace, and here comes the fucking Executor, or I guess not the Executor, but his Star Destroyer just
Oh,
fucking
his Star Destroyer.
just plows into the ones that are like
Oh,
still
dude.
there, and
I
it's
loved that scene.
dude
It
so
showed the
good,
like the sheer destruction of how strong because that Star Destroyer like they crash against the side of the fucking Star Destroyer.
and
It doesn't even put a dent in the Star
right,
Destroyer.
but
Like
that's Rogue One. We don't need to get into
that's
that.
Rogue One.
We can
No,
do that on the main show, Podcastrophe, where which is what?
which is tomorrow, our first episode back in 2 weeks.
There we
We're going to
go.
be doing Podcastrophe. We're going to go live at 6 p.m. We don't know if it's going to be remote or in person yet because I sound like Death's Door, but
You do
it is
sound better.
happening.
As this episode went on, you sound better.
I'm putting everything I have it, so I'm probably not going to be able to talk the rest of the night. But I'm super excited for our Podcastrophe tomorrow. If you guys haven't tuned in then and tune in again next week, we'll be recording these Maulcastrophe episodes every Wednesday at 5 to 6 p.m., releasing it shortly
Mm-hmm.
thereafter. Really excited for you guys. Hope you stuck with it this far.
It's been a good
All
time.
that's left is for you to. That's right. All
Yeah,
that's left is for you to take
it's
us
been a
home.
fucking good time. I'm loving the series still. I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the show. And if you really like this and what we do, smash the like button and subscribe. Follow us on all the social media. Follow us on whatever podcasting platform you have because that's where we do the main show. And we have a lot of fun
Right.
doing it. We have a lot of great friends, a lot of great people on here. And we have just so much fun and such a good time doing all of this. So if you like what we do, there we go. Like, just do what you got to do to support us. Share this, like it, comment, do whatever you got to do. But
Tell your
until
friends.
yeah, tell your friends about this. If you like this discussion, yeah, we like doing it. We're a bunch of fucking Star Wars nerds, so that's
If you couldn't tell.
really all I got to say about that. So, I guess see you guys next week, and in between now and then, just try to make every day a big dick day. Bye, guys.
Later, y'all.